Hello! Hi! Welcome. So update 33 has come out, and with it, the hybridization of skills has been thrust upon us, which is very interesting because it leads to a lot of different builds and things that you can do, like you can scale for magic on a stamina build, and I can finally make my food fight build! Okay, sorry. There are timestamps in the description if you don't want to hear all the fun stuff that I have to say, so let's begin. So if you were on my channel last patch, you would have known that I had uploaded a video about my one-shot stamina Nightblade build. And today, I bring you version 2.0. Is it greater? Is it better? I really can't tell. We're just 3 days into update 33 on the console, so it's difficult to measure. But I like it. It still holds up very well and still holds its own. Granted, it is a gank build still, and not a 1vx machine. So I don't know why I'm trying to get 1vx clips with it while it's a gank build. There's something wrong with me, but that's fine. Anyways, the build feels great, and the patch not so much. This is still the same laggy old ESO that it's always been. Still can't break free, still can't cast half my skills, but you know, the build still works, and the proc sets still hurt. And I mean, that's what it's all about anyways, right? Hurting people. You know, it's weird that ZeniMax made a game that makes hurting people fun. Like, just think, okay. Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about its approachability. The approachability of this build is still a 3 out of 5 stars. I give it that because the killing part of this build is super easy. All you need to do is literally one combo and they're dead. The hard part comes when trying not to get killed after killing someone. So it gets a 3 out of 5 for that reason. The gear is okay, reasonable enough to get if you have the DLCs at least. Yeah. I love this build. It's very fun. Nightblade is in a great spot this patch, and I hope it stays this way, but I don't know. Now, for those of you that are subscribed to my channel, you know I like to do this little thing with my builds called a montage, and they're pretty fun to put together. I do have enough clips for a full montage this time, and I quite enjoyed making this montage, so I hope you enjoy it too. I can't promise montages for future builds though, simply because people are going to stop dying the longer this patch goes on because rallying cry exists and healers are going to become more popular, more prevalent, and just more of a nuisance than ever. So I'm sorry if this might be the last montage you ever see from me. I'll try not to let it be the last montage because I like making montages. It's fun, but I hope you enjoy it. And really quick before we do, some people are confused at what one-shot means. One-shot means really hard-hitting, fast-hitting burst combo. That means they die in like 1 or 2 seconds, or 3. Okay, so, yeah.
E.
Alright, so we have 0 points into magic, we have 54 points into health, and we have 10 points into stamina. This is the front bar unbuffed. This is the back bar unbuffed. This is the front bar slightly buffed. And this is the back bar slightly buffed. Do note that these numbers get way higher while in combat. For our Mundus, we are using the Serpent. We are using the Serpent because it gives us stamina recovery, which is very important, especially when you're doing a lot of sneaking, roll dodging, and attacking people from behind. For our race, we are a Khajiit, of course, and this would be my first choice for the race for this build. My second choice would be a Dark Elf, and then my third choice would be an Imperial. As a cat, we have Robustness, increasing all of our recoveries. We have Lunar Blessings, increasing all of our max stats. And we have Feline Ambush, increasing our critical damage and healing done, and making us a hide-and-seek pro. Look, we're a vampire stage 3. We're a stage 3 vampire because it gives us undeath when we're stage 3. And if you don't want to go to stage 3 because cost increases and all that, at least be stage 2 because you need the strike from the shadows so you can get a lot more damage when you come at a stealth. Vampire on this build is not negotiable. You kind of have to be a vampire. Okay, for our food, we are using Lavafoot Soup and Salt Rice, which gives us stamina and stamina recovery. Very helpful. We have Corrupting Bloody Mara. I tend to keep a few of these on hand since we're a vampire. This will set us to stage 4 vampirism, and then we can just use Purifying Bloody Mara to lower our stage by 1, allowing us to have good control over our vampirism on the go. And we have the good old Tri-Stat Potions, the good all-rounders. We need these because we use all of our resources very often, and having these on hand whenever we need to get those back, very, very helpful. And no, we are not using any poisons on our weapons. Hello! Listen. I know you're here for the gear. I just recommend that you sit through the entire video so you can understand why the gear works the way it does and why we're set up the way we are. And if you are watching it all the way through, you're a legend. Okay, so on our main hand, we are using Calorian's Legacy Sword with a Disease enchantment. It is Nirnhoned. And if you do not know what Calorian's Legacy does, we are using specifically swords and not maces or axes or anything because we're trying to scale our proc set damage as high as possible since we're using 2 proc sets. So that's why we're using swords. Maces would work too. Just any Calorian's Legacy one hand if you dual wield it until you can get swords. But prioritize getting swords. And a big surprise, Calorian's Legacy Sword with a shock enchantment. And it is charged. We have charged so we can proc those big fat status effects. And this is why we don't use any poisons. On the back bar, we have a Vegetarian's Greatsword with a weapon damage enchantment. It is powered. You could go defending instead of powered. I have powered, and I don't see a need to change it and use transmutes when it works just fine for me. If you don't know what the proc of this weapon does, here you go. For our head, we are using Calorian's Legacy Hat with a Tri-Stat enchantment. It is Divines. For our chest, we are using a Flame Blossom Jerkin with a Tri-Stat enchantment. It is Divines, and this is our second proc set. This thing is very nasty, it goes right through block, and it can't be dodged. For our shoulders, we are using Balorg's Arm Cops with a Stamina enchantment, and it is well fitted. We have 1 piece of Balorg on the shoulder, so that way we can get the extra weapon and spell damage. You could use 1 piece of Medium Magma on here instead if you find you need a little bit more recovery, but I have Balorg so I can push the proc damage a little bit further. For our belt, we have Calorian's Legacy Sash with a Stamina enchantment, and it is well fitted. For our hands, we have Flame Blossom Gloves with a Stamina enchantment, and those are Divines. For our legs, we have Flame Blossom Breeches with a Tri-Stat enchantment, and they are well fitted. And for our feet, we have Flame Blossom Shoes with a Stamina enchantment, and they are Divines. For our necklace, we are using Calorian's Legacy Necklace with a weapon damage enchantment, and it is infused. For our first ring, we have a Flame Blossom Ring with a weapon damage enchantment, and this one is Swift. And for our second ring, I have the Ring of the Wild Hunt on currently equipped. If you know anything about the build from last patch, you know I ran the Mark and Ring of Majesty. We still do, it's just situational and how we use these rings. If you're going to run the Mark and Ring of Majesty, it has a weapon damage enchantment on it, and it's straight as Swift. If If you're going to run the Ring of the Wild Hunt, it has a weapon damage enchantment on it, and that one is infused. But like I said, it's situational. I find I'm using the Wild Hunt a little bit more so I can get in and out a little faster. So I know a lot of you in the comments have been asking, what do I run in place of this and what do I run in place of that? I plan on making a bigger video about like more of a budget, I guess you could say budget build, a Walmart build of the Nightblade if you don't have any of the DLCs and all that. I plan on making that, but as it sits right now, I'd recommend in place of Calorian's Legacy, you would use Red Mountain, and in place of Flame Blossom, you would use Ashen Grip, and then you just fill out the rest of the pieces with Trainee. And that's basically it in short summary, but if you're curious about a more in-depth look at the sets that I talked about just then, check out the build video I did on this build last patch, and it will provide some more detail. Okay, fellers, on our front bar we have Whirling Blades. This is our execute, this is a good AoE, this is the finishing move to our combo, and it kills people really good. It makes them real dead, real good. Next up, we have Camouflage Hunter, or Camo Hunter. While this is slotted, we get a bunch of damage boosts, so we get Slayer from the Fighter's Guild passive, and Minor Berserk when we hit someone from behind. Also, having it slotted allows us to get more critical rating, so we crit a little bit more often, and also it pulls enemies out of stealth. Next up, we have our quote-unquote flex spot, as the cool kids call it. I have Reaper's Mark here currently. It helps me deal with tankier targets, and also when I know I'm going to kill someone, I put this on them, I get more damage. Also, while this is slotted, we get more critical chance with the Nightblade passive, but you can put really anything you want here. At the moment, I just have Reaper's Mark. You could put Vigor here, and then replace Vigor on your back bar for Shadow Image, if that's something you want to do, so you have a front bar heal, but I like the setup as it is right now. You just, you can put whatever you want here. No surprise here. Next up, we have Surprise Attack. So this is a very good spammable. We combo this with light and heavy attacks, weaving this. It's just very annoying to get hit by because it's so very effective. Next up, we have Merciless Resolve. This used to be Relentless Focus, but with the hybrid scaling, now we switch it to Merciless because Merciless hits a lot harder than Relentless. It does use magic, so if you're finding that your magic sustain is taking a hit when you switch over, go back to Relentless. But at the moment, and for now, I'm going to be using Merciless Resolve, simply because it hits harder and heals me for more, and that's all I could really ask for with any morph of any skill. And for our front bar ultimate, we used to run Incapacitating Strike, now we are using Soul Harvest, simply because Soul Harvest not only gives us Major Defile, which really helps with all the healing that's going on this update, but also I don't have to fight the skill anymore. I don't have to fight Incapacitating Strike and cast it. And look, you know what I'm talking about. You try and cast Incapacitating Strike, but then it's like, nope, here, let me save it for my 120 cost. Nope, not anymore. Okay, Soul Harvest it is. On our back bar, we have Race Against Time. This grants us Major Expedition and Minor Force, so we run really, really fast and we hit harder with our crits. Also, it removes snares and immobilizations from us, so we can't be held down as easy. This is very good for getting out of tough situations. Next up, we have Resolving Vigor. This is our heal over time. We use this whenever we're trying to go into a roll or put some distance between us, or we just want to mitigate some damage because we're caught out of stealth. We use this. Next up, we have Leeching Strikes. This is our sustain skill. Gives us stamina back when we light and heavy attack people, and then at the end, it gives us a burst of it. Also, we can spam this to get Veda Strength stacks. Next up, we have a very loaded skill, Rally. Gives us Major Brutality and Sorcery now, increasing our weapon and spell damage. Gives us Minor Endurance, increasing our stamina recovery, and it's a burst heal. And it gives us access to the Veda Strength proc. Next up, we have Shadowy Disguise, the #1 tool in avoiding all of your problems, yes. This allows us to go invisible, and our next attack used within 3 seconds is a guaranteed crit, so we can easily proc Calorians from stealth. So finally, on our back bar ultimate, we have Soul Tether. This is used for defensive and offensive plays. I have this on the back bar because normally you're going to be caught on your back bar, so you can just use this and then cloak away if you need to. Or you can use this to go offensive as well, so buff up, jump in with this, and then switch bars and start spinning. And then, yeah, you could do that. But this is a good ultimate. Stuns all the enemies that you hit and heals you for the damage that you deal. I just wish it didn't have a cast time because I could have survived so many more encounters if they didn't add cast times to ultimates. Thank you, ZeniMax. And it should go without saying to fill out all the passives, your class passives. You know, I could go on forever. Just make sure you get the passives. Okay, so for our champion points, in the role player tree, we have Master Gatherer, Plentiful Harvest, Sustaining Shadows, Steed's Blessing, In the sweaty tree, we have Fighting Finesse, Deadly Aim, Master at Arms, and then we have Untamed Aggression. You can interchange Untamed Aggression with Biting Aura if you want. I have Untamed Aggression currently, so I can push my proc set damage a little bit further. So that's why I have Untamed Aggression. It's up to you. You can use whichever one you want. They both work pretty well. But, yeah. So in the potato tree, we have Celerity. We have Relentlessness. You can switch out Relentlessness for Survival Instincts if you want, but I like Relentlessness because I plan on staying out of combat a lot so I can get more kills. So I have Relentlessness in case I do get caught, so that way I can survive just a little bit better if I do end up getting stunned. That pairs really well with our next passive, Slippery. And then our last one is Sustained by Suffering. We have this because it gives us recoveries. You could use Survival Instincts there if you want, but I don't know. It's up to you. So, also make sure you fill out all your little golden stars as well, but aim for the passives. So as you know, we talk about everything from the rotation to what we do to survive in the combat stuff section. So let's start with the rotation. Nothing has really changed since the last update. You still play it the exact same way. Fast, you hit hard, you get in, you get out. So basically for the rotation is as follows. Buff up, you cloak, get behind your opponent, heavy attack, hold it all the way so it's a fully charged heavy attack, and then as soon as your heavy attack lands, surprise attack and spin. That's enough to kill most players. If not, then light attack, surprise attack, weave until they're low enough. If they're still alive by that point, then hit them with a Merciless, which should be ready by then. And for the big boy combo, you're going to hit your Soul Harvest, and then you're going to use your Merciless bow proc, so your Spectral Bow, and that's going to be some big boy damage, and then you spin on them, and you should just... When it comes to dealing with groups of enemies, just stay back away from groups of enemies. We're not designed to AoE burst people. We do have access to Soul Tether, so it's really your call whether or not you want to take that risk, but most of the time I find when I try and do that, I think I'm going to get them. I just end up killing myself, so be very careful when you're trying to do that, and just make sure you make the right call. Another thing as it relates to making the right call is not overextending. You think you're going to go out in the open and you think you're going to get all those idiots that are just standing there, but in reality, you're just overextending and putting yourself in a stupid place where you're probably going to get yourself killed. I can't tell you how many times I've had to remind myself this is a gank build, not a 1vx build, because I like to try and 1vx with this build, which is really weird. It can 1vx, but it's not optimized and designed for it like some other builds. This is a gank build. This is a get in, stab, get out kind of build. So with this build, know your limits and don't make stupid decisions like me. I'm going to continue making stupid decisions because it's fun for me. And for some reason I enjoy making dumb decisions, like going out there and trying to 1vx on a gank blade. But, you know, that's me. You do you. I'm just saying, be aware of what you're doing and use your build. And final note for this build and this survivability, all of that survivability comes from you being hidden, so you need to make sure that you are using stealth as often as you can. The shadows are your friend with this build, because if you get caught out of stealth and you don't know how to keep yourself alive without being hidden, then there's a good chance that you're just going to die, because, like I said, you're in all light armor, and this build is not designed for 1vx. But it do gank, and it do it very well. It gank really good, it do. Trust me, it do. So yeah, that's my one-shot Stamina Nightblade Stabby build Volume 2. I do hope you enjoy it. I enjoy playing it. It is definitely going to be a baseline build. A baseline build, I mean, as in something I come back to when I'm testing other builds and I just get frustrated while playing other builds. This will be the build that I come back to relax and just PvP casually, because it can almost do that. It's a bit difficult sometimes because MMR healers and lag exist, and those do not combine well. It's like if you put them all in a vial together, they just explode in viciousness. It's just horrible. But that is Zosa's vision for ESO PvP, so unfortunately, we must accept that. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. If I forgot anything, you can check the description of this video. Also, if you have any questions about this build, I would suggest that you go back and watch what the build video I made last patch about this build. I'll have it linked here at the very end on the left. And if you still have questions, put them in the comments of this video, and maybe I'll get back to you. Maybe I won't, but I try to answer the questions of people that seem genuinely confused. So, yeah. Have a good night.